Okay, hold on. As usual, just gotta make sure things are working properly. Upcoming live. Hello, hello. Okay, I can't hear it. It's there. My audio's just down. Um. Oh yeah. Also, here's some memes I made to stall for time. I'm just gonna say it. Modern sci-fi isn't green enough anymore. No one is loading the goo tank. No one is using the slime tube. Bring back the sludge. Lately, I've been looking for my old MTG meme just because a while back when Peter got like a bunch of files got corrupted. So I had to go searching for them. So I guess I've been retweeting and posting them again lately after I've been finding them. So I don't keep as good track of them as I do with my art. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is I think I'm going to play MTG and we're gonna draft have the Edge of Eternities because it came out today. So we're gonna draft it, and then either until we get, I guess, gems, or until we lose, we'll probably then start reading the story. Also, Spider-Man's set's coming out, I guess. Not that I'm probably gonna play it, but we're actually pretty far from finishing the story. We're on episode 6 out of like 11. We're like halfway through. I probably should have done a better job trying to speed up and keep up, but especially given that the set was coming out. Ideally, I would have liked to finish the story before we got the set come out, but we're just gonna everybody's gonna take our time. Hopefully, we have enough time before the next Magic set comes out to finish the story. I also don't know if I don't know if like reading the story for every set is something I'm gonna do realistically. Not at least not like out loud. I usually read it like on my own time, but and I'm not opposed to like replacing story with something else. Like, I mean, story like me going over it, not story like I'd rather Magic the Gathering not, but rather Magic the Gathering not replace the story. So, we're gonna draft. I guess if you haven't drafted, hold on, patch notes. I don't care. We figure it out as we go. So events. So if you haven't drafted, I'll go Premier Draft Edge of Eternities. So if you haven't drafted, how drafting works is basically, at least this form of drafting, how it works is basically you get packs, and each player gets a pack, and then they pick one card from the pack, move it, then pass the pack around to the next player, and then you pack, and then because of that, you will also get past the pack, and then you take a card from that pack, and the cycle repeats. So you're picking one card from each pack as it's passed around to build a deck. In most drafts like this, your minimum deck is 40 card deck. But just to clarify, just like normal decks have a minimum of 60, this is a minimum. So you can go over 40. You could run a 60 card deck in drafting. It's just you have to be more. It's kind of to know what you're doing and probably have more of a focus from like the moment you draft of like what colors you want to go into. And another thing about drafting is, unlike standard or historic, there's no like limit on how many copies of a card you can have as long as you get it from the draft. So you can have like 5 or 6 copies of a card if you're really lucky and you know what you're doing. But so also you see here there's like different archetypes. This is something that's you see even if you draft in person, which I have drafted in person before. I just didn't have the money to draft this time in person. There'll usually be like a little pamphlet in person with like in the box. So some drafts works, you just get like a bunch of packs, you just open them and you build a deck using those packs. But usually how drafting works either way, there'll usually be a pamphlet or something similar to tell you what the different archetypes are, so that way you can get an idea of what to build or what the set's focused on. So here we have white blue second spell. Cast your second spell on a turn and earn additional bonuses to overwhelm your opponent. Artifact control. Assemble an artifact based deck to grind your opponent's resources turn by turn. So basically it's saying it's going to be a slow deck. Using void. Use the void mechanic at the cost of creatures and artifacts and trigger devastating effects. Which it says at the cost of creatures and artifacts because void does go off from sacrificing stuff, but we also know void just cares about stuff leaving the graveyard in general. So let me make sure Twitch is working, by the way. So what you can do is you can like warp something in, and then that would activate void because we do know void goes off of warp. So even though it says it seems like it wants you to treat it like it's an art, like a sack deck, you don't have to. It doesn't seem like you only sack stuff. my assumption. Landers and landfall. Use lander tokens and landfall to create mana advantage. Landers can help trigger landfall more easily, so basically ramp. Red, white, +1/+1 counters. Boost your entire army with +1/+1 counters. Stack them up and watch the enemies fall. Go wide. Assemble the largest battlefield in the system. Conquer your opponent to sheer numbers. It's kind of funny. I guess it's a Monos and Palatinate, and I guess they are pretty big factions. Artifact aggro. Blue-red. Play cheap artifacts you've uncovered on your travels to quickly overpower the field with supreme synergies. Black, green. Graveyard. Salvage long-forgotten ships and fallen warriors with gravity strategy that keeps you coming back. Red, white. Space station. Station your space crews, your spacecrafts by tapping creatures, then reap the reward of your dedicated crew. Ramp. It's blue, green, blue. It's kind of done a little dirty because I feel like it's almost always ramp. The last time I remember it not being ramp is like maybe at least the draft archetype was like maybe I think it was Duskmourn. I think it was like a manifest deck instead of a ramp deck, but I feel like it's almost always ramp. Explore Sathair's furthest regions and worlds by controlling the largest monsters and ships in the system. Also, you'll see people refer to these as like there's like a Ravnica guild. There's a plane called Ravnica, each with 10 guilds that corresponds to a color. Sometimes you'll see people refer to these color combinations with the guild names: Azorius, Dimir, Rakdos, Gruul, Selesnya, Orzhov, Izzet, Golgari, Boros, Simic. Just to be clear, not every single white-blue spell in existence, for example, is the Azorius part of the Azorius faction. It's a bit of slang. Like not every like if you want to be pedantic, Azorius is like a Ravnica faction, so not like every white-blue card in existence is the Azorius Senate, but it's slang, so like people just use it as like a shorthand instead of having to say the colors out every time. I would say it's not like a requirement that you have to refer to these as like as their Ravnica guilds, as long as you know what the other person's talking about. But anyway, we'll get into it. I'm not good at drafting, but I will give my thought process as to why I'm doing stuff as much as possible, just so I'm not sitting here in silence. As for what deck I want to make, I mean, I usually try Izzet, but I lately have been trying not to force it as much. I usually just try to see what's available. It is a legendary card. I usually like try to build around that if I see a good legendary. Ready. What do we got here? So I only have so much time to read because it's kind of down. I'm thinking we just go with Halia because she's a legendary and it rewards you for +1/+1 counters. And that's like it's pretty easy to build around for me to understand. Permanent Trading Blade. I think we'll go with Halia. I should be sitting here reading through all these, but I'm not sure. Okay, well, if we have time. When the spacecraft enters, it deals 3 damage to any target. It's flying, becomes a creature, mono with Sentry, Defender, Starfield Vocalist. It causes triggers to trigger additional time. You can, most people you'll see, I guess, drafting is that normally I see mono colors and dual colors, just because when you start getting the 3 colors of drafting, you have to be really lucky or really know what you're doing to not like get mana screwed. Grab, kill. That's a removal. We definitely want more cards like a Wet Blade and Enhancer if it comes back around. Landfall. It also has a card draw, so I think that's pretty good. I think we'll take Halia. Pretty easy for me to understand. Return to 2 target non-land permanents from your graveyard in your hand. Return 2 target lands. That's pretty. That's 5 mana though. Tap another creature. This ability costs 2 left to activate. Starport Sentry seems pretty good. It seems like really good stalling if you have a +1/+1 counter. When this creature enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a spacecraft from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. If you don't, it gets put to a +1/+1 counter. I gotta read a little bit fast, so I don't have a lot of time. But I'm thinking Starport Sentry because Pulsar Squadron seems dependent on how many spacecrafts we have, and I don't know if we're gonna run any spacecrafts because if it comes back around we have spacecrafts. Oh, at the beginning of your step, if you control 2 or more tap creatures, you gain 2 life. That's not. I mean, that's all right. What have we got in green? X, where X is the number of different lands. Again, I don't know how many lands we're gonna have yet. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Surveil 1. Usually, I don't really run a lot of these because they're usually kind of specific, but people probably will have artifacts. So it's not terrible. I guess we'll take the artifact. Destruction. Emergency eject. That would be good if we were running Simic. Destroy target non-land permanent. It's control. I mean, that's not bad. It's pretty good removal. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter to 2 target creatures. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains reach, trample on it. That's pretty good. Both these are pretty good. I think I'm gonna take biosynthetic burst for now, just because it's good, like protecting my stuff. But command bridge. This land enters tap. This land enters sacrifice it unless you untap. Unless you tap untap permanent control. I think we take it. I think it's good mana. Filtering. Death touch, destruction. I think we need at least one of these just because we want to make sure our lands. It helps prevent us from being land screwed as much. Thawbringer. We are as ice. No time to read flavor text. We gotta look at the card. When this creature enters or dies, surveil 1. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Destroy target artifact or tap creature. You gain 3 life. This is also really good removal. The problem is I don't want only removal because I want to actually be rewarded for playing creatures. So I think I'm gonna take 9. I think I'm gonna take Night Luminary for now, just because Light Luminary creates tokens that I can then put +1/+1 counters on, which is decent. Reroute systems. Choose one. Target artifact or creature gains indestructible to end the turn. Reroute systems deals 2 damage to target tap creature. I think that feels really solid. It's just it's basically a white bolt, except like you can also have the choice between it says closer unit gets a lightning bolt in white because it only hits tapped creatures, but you can also get something indestructible. And if you want to try to give advice, you can try to give advice on either Twitch or the YouTube chat, but I can't guarantee I'll see it in time because there's a delay on it. So you can try your best, but I won't blame you if you don't want to in case it gets frustrating. Where is my... Oh, shit. Scout for Survivors. That's pretty good. +1/+1 counters. There's nothing else in green and white, so I don't think I really care. Go through. I'm trying to turn on my... Here we go, chat. I'll leave it off the screen just because I want to see what I'm doing. Again, it's only the colors of the white one. We take... It looks like no one took Wet Blade Enhancer, I think is good. Ideally, when you're drafting, you don't want any other player to be running whatever color combination you're running because that gives you more options. Because if someone else is running white-green, then me and that person are basically fighting over who gets what white-green cards. And so we might get screwed over because they might pick the better ones if they get to it first. And it also has warp, so you can warp it in and then... Also, again, they're reprints the Fulmori, so they're really trying to play it for me. I mean, none of these really matter. Like, what would we run? If we were going to run a creature, I think we're slightly more likely to run, like, Bant or something if we had to, but I really doubt it. I don't see the point. Usually I like to actually run 60-card decks in draft. That's just a personal preference. I do not think it is at all optimal. I think the optimal thing to do is to run 40 cards because it tends to be more consistent. I would only recommend 60s if you had like a lot of copies of a certain cards, and then that way you can guarantee consistency. Shatter Wings, sure. At least it's green. Sunstar Exemplar. Honor. I think Honor's just solid, but Intrepid, Tenderfoot. It does. It only affects as a sorcery, but it does go off multiple times if you have the mana. I mean, only as a sorcery, but like if you had like 6 mana, you could activate it twice in a turn. You just couldn't activate it instant speed, no? That's a hard choice, because on one hand, I went with the body, but on the other hand, Honor just seems solid because it's a card draw and puts a +1/+1 counter on something, which we know we really want. It puts it down faster than Tenderfoot. But the problem is I don't want only like non-creature spells. I do want like actual creatures. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever non-token creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, create a... That seems really good. That seems kind of like the shit we want. Focus Fire deals X damage to a target, but where X is 2 plus the number. That's really fucking good. Oh, I hate having to pick between these because those are both... Star Sentry is fine. We'll take this. Oh yeah, I guess I'd also recommend running 60 cards if you had a ton of card draw, so you could guarantee you could probably hit the cards you need. But also if you hear a dog barking, a bunch of my parents like hammering stuff, my dog is running around free. This creature has a +1/+1 count with each card. That's pretty good. Seam Rip. This will target non-land permanent control. 2 valueless does champion leaves the battlefield. Night Luminary. When this creature enters, Okay, 1/1 white human token, creature token. Then we want Lux Knight Breacher. I'm a little hesitant because I'm wondering if I should get more removal, because removal is good, but I also obviously wants to be a very creature heavy deck, and I don't want more non-creature cards than I have creature cards. I think once creature interest created 1/1 white sacrifices creature, switch your library for an equipment card. I don't think we want that, mostly because here, creature enters the X+1/+1 counter when it leaves, but it's going to counter on creature control. That's pretty good. Library control enters the battlefield. +1/+0. I think we take Broodguard Elite. I think it's just better. So right now, part of the reason I'm moving faster is because I think we know what we want. So I'm just going to skip over the things that aren't white or green. We're going to be looking at white, green, colorless cards. I'd be very surprised if there was something colorless, though, that was like, holy shit, we have to add this. Landfall. Whenever land... I mean, that's okay. I guess I'll keep you alive for a bit, but... And if I win or less, reveal it. Do we have mana... With mana light? Yeah, we have Starport. Warp. Melstrider's Gear. I'm thinking Starfield Shepherd, because we can warp it for 2, search for a land, which is good for like making sure we hit our mana, and or just look for a creature. Like if we don't have Starport Sentry, you can look for Starport Sentry. We don't really have enough. What become tap? That's whenever you become tap is pretty good. I think. I kind of want this more, but oh. Biosynthetic Burst is also really good. I think we do want another Biosynthetic Burst just to keep what we have alive. You control 2 more type creatures, you gain 2 life. Focus Fire. Okay, we will take Focus Fire, I think, this time. I know there's another Biosynthetic Burst, but Focus Fire, it just feels too good to not pass up, especially if nobody picked it yet. It's kind of a miracle no one took it yet, because it just seems like a really good removal card. Squire's Lightblade. Let's see what this creature gains first, second, until the end of the turn. Flash, yeah. +5/+0. We might take this because I mean, granting first strike when it enters is really good, but I think we kind of want Sky Stinger just to stop. I'm not sure how much stuff we have to stop flyers. I think we want Starport Sentry more there. Starport Sentry. All right. Ain't no one taking Starport Sentry. Starport Sentry just feels good because we want to play +1/+1 counters. So if we have something, so we can get it to cost 2 less, we can just pay 2 to tap something down, which like can stall for a lot of time. Differently named. I don't think this is what we want, but sure. We don't have an option. It's one thing we could run in case we get a shit pick next pack. We'll get Lux Knight Breacher. Meltstrider's Gear. Here we go. Let's see. Return target enchantment control enter the battlefield. Starfighter Pilot is not bad. Zealous Display. Creatures you control get +1/+2. If it's not your turn, untap those creatures. I think... How many creatures do we actually have? Okay, I think we can spare like a couple non-creature things. Because I think we want Zealous Display because that's just insane defense. Especially if we care about going wide and ramping up our stuff, we can let the opponent swing and then untap them. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tap creatures, put a +1. That's I think this is like we don't even need to read the rest of the shit. I think we want that. Yeah, I mean, gain 2 life is fine. Biosynthetic Burst is really good if we can get back around to that. Diplomatic Relations. Our creature control gets plus. I remember they immediately errated this card. I think someone accidentally, like, when they first revealed it, accidentally had a misprint, which is like, they said you can choose a creature. So it was like, oh, you just choose your opponent's own creature and have them hit themselves. And then they're like, oh shit, that's not what we meant. I think we do. These are both really good. Again, do we want the removal or do we want the creature? We'll take Tenderfoot. I'm not sure if that's the right play, but close encounters, initial cost, choose a creature you control or what creature you own, exile. Deals damage equal to its power target. That's just good, I think. Emergency Eject is also pretty good. This also has warp though, which is also good. Okay, we'll take that. I think it's just good removal. We can take Weft Blade Enhancer maybe, or Exosuit Savior. SI1 Savior, just like that's not terrible, just because we could. What do we have that we even want to bounce? Because there's stuff we can bounce that might care about entering. But it's not instant, which is kind of what our flash. So like it doesn't have flash. So that sorcery speed is kind of what Bright Spear Zealot. I'm not sure we really care for that card. Dies, surveils 1. Gain 2 life. I don't think anything's particularly super good here. It's Bright Spear Zealot, I guess, because it has vigilance, but I mean everything else is okay. Tap for surveil or +1/+1 counters. Man value was 2 or less. Okay, but I'm not sure really leaning into landers, so I think we just go with the +1/+1 counter. Zealous Display. I think we might take another Zealous Display. Here's somebody like walloping a Monoist, which is interesting because we haven't really had a bunch of conflicts between it. At least I haven't gotten to the part of the story that there is. We haven't seen a ton of conflicts between the Eomedians and Monoist. I assume it happens because it seems like so they're just like a very at war system, but Eomedian thermal wands protect their new home as well as thought. Left walking. What does this do anyway? I'm kind of curious. What is left walking? When this enchantment enters, if you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyards into your library. Then draw 7 cards. The first spell each player casts during a turn may be cast without paying its mana cost. Oh, I see. Not what I expected for a card named left walking, but Biosynthetic Burst. I think we just take Biosynthetic Burst. Sort of thunder outside. Hopefully my power doesn't go out or something. Mecha Navigator. Sure. I guess we technically have blue cards, more blue cards, but none of those cards are good. Avoid some of the Curiosity, Caution, deploy Mecha. Yeah, white card. I think is the last. We either have. Yeah, okay, that was the last pack. I was gonna say we either have one more pack or I think that was the last pack. Checking my audio again. I guess we technically have. Audio's doing fine. Okay. So we're gonna cut everything. Usually how I do this isn't the smartest way to do it, but suggested lands, white, green, and then we look. So we know we want to run counters, so we just look up counter, and we put everything in the deck with the counter and with the counter into the deck, and we sort what cards we don't want from that, and we narrow our way down, as opposed to try to figure out what we do want. We might just have enough just to put shit in. Total mana value 3 or less. How many creatures are in here? A good creature ratio for white green. So we can put 4. We could probably, honestly, if we really want to, we could probably go 60. But I don't think we have enough card draw to justify that, right? So Zealous Display. And then I think we probably put removal for the last of our stuff, just because we could put Starfield Shepherd, but I think we just want like Focus Fire or reroute systems or something. And I don't know. I pulled through the Weft though. Reach out to $2 permanents cards from your graveyard to your hand. See, but that's like 5. How much ramp do we have to justify that? Because we could put 2 things in our hand and then 2 lands on the battlefield that already cost like 5 mana. But also, do we need more removal? Can we ever have too much removal? answer is yes, but I like to think no. I think we just take this, and we'll just have to edit as we win or lose. Also, someone taking a shower. Click a phase, and I forget which one is it. Is that Jimmy? There's like archetypes that the team like that like Mark Roseron people talk about, and there's like they got like cards and one that unsets. Okay. Rust Harvester, Menace, exile an artifact from your graveyard. Put a +1 +1 counter creature, then deals damage equal. That's kind of nasty. I'm gonna be honest, because as long as it stays alive and you have artifacts, you can kind of keep setting it off, because you eat one, at least once each turn. Remnant Elemental, even until Exodus Day, those in power on Cavalron refuse to acknowledge the planet was trying to tell them something. Can't block the Menace. Okay, can we warp at instant speed? I don't know if we can warp at instant speed, and I kind of don't want to risk. Sure. Maybe I should just try to see if I can warp at instant speed. I probably should have. I probably would have been better. We'll cast you later. Entering a sec effect for the warp looks more digitally. Also, my dog's whining because there's thunder. And, double the power. Okay, I really want to play this card so early, but we'll drop down. Lux Knight Breacher. We're probably gonna have to block with it because it probably won't kill anything, but at least with Intrepid's Tenderfoot, we can maybe put +1/+1 counters on it. Or I keep both of these alive just so I can play Wept Enhancer next turn. Wept Blade Enhancer. Yeah, I don't think that's happened though. We gotta try a double block here. They're probably not gonna work, but yeah, okay. We might need to cut a land. You should never cut lands, but we might need to cut a land. It doesn't say warp works at sorcery. It says it says you cast it. So is it whatever the card is? I'm looking this up. We're dead, but is MTG warp? Also, I should know I haven't really like looked at the cards before this set. There's like people like basically like do like research before they draft. So like they know like the optimal. I've just seen like one video that was like 10 minutes about most used and least used cards. Okay, so normal restrictions apply, so I would not have been able to cast that at instant speed. And I think we will cut a land against my better judgment. And then we'll play we'll put a Night Luminary, maybe. I'm thinking Starfield Shepherd. This might fuck us over, but Can't play this on turn 1 though. We only have green. We might need a mulligan here. Or we can play green and then we can play this. I think we just hope we draw a white card. Yeah, plain. Starport Sentry. Humidity Terror Biologist. Gain 1 life. Green. It's pretty good for a warp, I think. We can chill and then this turn we can just tap it if the stoppers actually work. I do not have the mana to stop it. I forgot. Marvel Scout Lander. You may sacrifice land or lander. If you use your library for 2 basic land cards from the battlefield. So it kind of allows you to avoid having to pay for your landers. To look for lands, you just get them. I think we just want to put plus one kind of that next turn and then swing probably. We want to keep Rayblade Trooper alive just because if they kill Starport Sentry, we want to be able to profit off that. Mill 3 cards. Ooh, they're running 3 colors. Fancy. Let's start thinking against 2 linear. Wow, they fight head on. We hit them everywhere else. Okay, well. I know I said I want to keep that alive, but it is what it is, huh? Okay, we can cast this. Search for planes. Play this. Keep our mana up, maybe tap. Or do we want to swing? I'm going to swing. Then I'll play Starport Security. We can cast you later, which is a nice flyer, I guess. We can tap that down, luckily, I think. I think we tap it when we attack, maybe. Oh, that changes things, because we can kill it when it swings. Okay, we'll play Lux Knight Breacher. And then we'll chill. There's probably a more optimal way to play that. It might be that we wanted to tap that, swing, and then wait for them to attack, and then reroute systems to kill it. Uh-oh. And needs like 8+. Doesn't swing. Interesting. Okay. I think we want to leave our ability to tap things down open. So I'll cast Intrepid Tenderfoot, Command Bridge. Tap the Tenderfoot. Tap you. Swing. Focus Fire. Fair enough. I feel like this, we probably didn't have enough white mana. Honor. It's not bad. Use a card. We could kill that. I don't think I will, though. I think I'll just do this. We could also just get something indestructible. We could just literally swing and then give something indestructible, so if they try to block with Dead Touch, we still live. Ouroboros. That's not good. That would have been great in our deck, but what do we even have? Okay, we have a 4/4, so we can kill that with close encounter. Whoops. Then we want to. We don't need to tap that to put counters on. Then we want to swing. Ideally, we want them to block with Hall Carver because they think it's safe. Yeah. Give something indestructible. Bam. Unfortunately, we could not cast Starfield Shepherd because of that, but the End Stone. At the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half. You're starting to round it up. Can we kill this guy fast enough then? Fuck. Okay. We can probably do a lot of damage though. What is it? If we don't kill them in one shot, they just go back up. Okay, I'll put you. The End Stone seems kind of insane, especially in a life gain deck, because if you go under, you just gain life. Or bored of it again. Okay. We still have options though. I might need to do extra math here because we basically have to one-shot this person, because if we do not, it does not matter. Land is not bad in this situation. So we tap that, we swing, then we can spend mana. I mean, we can spend a counter and a mana, tap that. What do we have enough? Because then that would be right on the 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that's worth it. I think we got it, maybe. Ooh. Managed to play that at all. It's kind of crazy. I know I was saying maybe we either wait till we either lose or get to the end with the gold gems, but I'm not 100% sure because it depends on how long this takes. It might be, I mean, we might just want to stop at a certain point for today and then come back and then do the rest. Rad Ruffus, pack leader. I think we mulligan. We want at least one creature, I think, that we'll be able to put all this stuff on, and we think we have too many lands. That's better. We... I don't want to, but I don't think realistically we can cast her anytime soon, so we might as well. Plain. Let's go to Command Bridge now because I don't think I want to cast Rootguard Lead anyway. They're also playing Silesia, so the fact that we're not doing so hot as quickly is probably not good. It just dies if we just cast it for nothing, so we'll look for a one mana spell. We'll grab Starport Sentry. Holy shit, the vacuum of space. We'll just let it go. Synthetic Amalgam. Ether Amalgam mana spent cast. When you attack, you remove a +1. You draw a card and create a 2/2. Okay. Play a green. Play an honor. Next turn, I think we want to try to cast Brewgut Elite. This turn, we just want to set our stuff up. We save a Biosynthetic Burst, probably. Maybe your next evolution, Immediate Insult. Let's get your +1 was kind of on target issue. You know, I was feeling pretty good about the cards I got, but now I'm feeling deck envy. Okay, don't activate that. We're gonna try to kill that. Ideally we'd be able to block that and then kill it, but okay. Green. We can make this really big, so we don't really have anything to protect it once it hits, though. Okay. Going for it. We want to spend all of the mana. It might just get killed, but I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Starfield Chipper. Oh, that's a weird card. I think it'll cast 4. I think if we do it this way, we can cast it for its warp cost and just play it anyway. We're also gonna get. I think we're about to get a shit kicked in because we are not going wide enough to counter any of this. Can I not warp it because it's not from my hand? Fuck, I didn't realize. Okay. 4. Whenever you attack, it doesn't really matter if that thing in particular attacks. Uh-oh. High market sacrifice. That's kind of fucked up flavor. We might want more removal. Or just go mad and go for 60 cards, but I'm not sure we have enough to justify that. It's not terrible, I guess, if our shit dies, but I thought they could have killed us if they played the cards right. I feel like they're just kind of swinging when they probably I mean, I think they're gonna win anyway. I think they could have just won earlier. Yep. If you're my dog again, by the way, it's just the thunder scaring him. He's all right. My family's downstairs with him. Uh, Not looking great, man. Do you have enough to cast both? No. Only. Well, we could cast this, look for a Starport Sentry, and then next turn tap something. Make it so it can't swing. Yeah. And then that way we can also sack the Starport Sentries to cast Scout for Survivors. Analyze 2 less card lander token. Okay. Well, we can stop you. Maybe I should have waited, but I don't think there's a way to do that without them declaring attackers. Well, it's just gonna die if it comes back. Not really point in saving it. I mean, it does have the most power at like one of the ones with the most power at the moment, but I think we're dead. 2, 4, 6. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Do I just go mad here and have a little fun, and then just put like make like a 60 card deck? Usually on my last leg, I just go YOLO and then put like 60 cards in just to see what happens. I also know how many 60 cards decks I have. Usually like around 23 or something. Do I have enough cards to justify a 60 card deck, though? Is the question. One, two, three, 4. 23. I think 23 is good. It's probably not going to work as well because I don't think we have no consistency. Might do okay. We're probably just going to play plans here because we can play reroute systems. Nutrient block. I fucking love the food, how the food has indestructible, and the fucking laser. What flavor do you want, Sammy? Bland, dense, or vanilla? Sacrifice this artifact. You gain 3 life. When's artifact? Draw a card. Intrepid Tenderfoot. I do like how even though it's indestructible, we can still eat it mechanically. It's just really funny. I activate that as a sorcery. We got will warp 2. Maybe I should have done that first, but I was at the third block. I also want to see if I could pull a reroute systems or something and get my stuff indestructible. Lawbringer. Kind of hoping for something else, a land or something. We'll do this. +1/+1 counter. Swing. 5. Reblade Trooper goes away. And next turn we can just play it normally. Ideally we want to land next turn because that way we can play Rayblade Trooper and then have enough up for reroute systems, I think. My engineered future. Each creature controlled an initial +1. Dude, why is everyone always getting the fucking sick cards and I get fucking just to put a single +1/+1 counter on something? More nutrient blocks. Wait, is that Fibblethip out there? Rip. Green. We could cast Shattered Wings. This is like this is a pretty good time to cast it. All right. So round 1, we'll take the plains. Yeah, just think about it now. I could try a double block. Yeah, baby. Indestructible. You gain nothing. At least they're not drawing a ton of cards, at least, but they do have the food for card draw. Everyone starts sacking stuff. I'm kind of just lucky they're not running more removal because once creature dies, create a robot artifact creature token. Her food stores are running out of her before her field, leaving only her mech and grab pack to carry remains next turn. Jesus Christ. So I guess the idea is it died and it's just a jetpack with the corpse inside. I don't really have enough permits to justify doing that. I think we just go put all our, well, I think actually we cast Intrepid and Tenderfoot. And then with that we cast Rayblade Trooper. Swing. Get your robot. Hope they don't board wipe anytime soon. Blooming Stinger. Death never smelled so sweet. Very pretty designed creature. Left to walk. Warp it maybe. Plus put 2 counters in something. Well, we get rewarded with Rayblade Trooper, but okay, we're just gonna full cast. Yeah, sure. They kill that. That causes this to trigger. We get a 1/1 white human token to make up for it. We might be able to win soon because ideally we're hoping they don't have any. Why did they board wipe? We draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Wait, okay. Because now we can cast Justify Pool to the left, or yeah. Target up to 2 lands. Cancel. What? I don't have any lands in my graveyard. Whatever. 2 non-land permanent cards from your graveyard. Oh, I guess just ask me if I want to return the lands. Forest, Intrepid. Okay. How close are we? How many wins have we gotten? I mean, if we lose even 1, we stop. So I guess we might as well just keep going. Because ideally, what you want to do is you want to get enough gems to be able to buy like the battle pass for free, and then be good. Okay, that's okay hand. Plains, then green, then Sunstar Chaplain. Honestly, maybe we should cut Command Bridge. I'm not sure how. I mean, it was helpful a bit, like a couple. I'm probably gonna start kicking myself if I cut Command Bridge and then we start getting mana screwed. Plans because we have more white cards. Flight Deck Coordinator. Swing. Right Spear Zealot. I think we just swing because then we can cast Zealous Display and potentially kill it, which would be very good early on. And if they don't stop anything, we can just... Okay. If they didn't stop anything, what would happen is we just had 2 tap creatures and gained us 2 life. We wouldn't sit in all right. This is something you notice they've been doing with equipment lately, is that they have equipment to like attach the stuff immediately to like just make it better. Hold on. Hello? Hello? Okay, I think someone butt dialed me or something. That was weird. Hello? Okay, I'm in the middle of streaming. I'll be down like in 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, bye. Real gamers never quit. Swing. Does that die? I guess the interesting about the warp is that I guess you could kill a creature that got warped in if you have the removal, and it would just go to the graveyard. Vigilance, fair. Focus fire. Command bridge. We can't really do anything this turn, and if this thing dies, I'm not really sure what we do. Well, if it says untap permit, can I not tap the equipment and just have all my mana up? Okay, if they get that thing indestructible. Gains first strike. I can't really do anything about that. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, I'd rather have another creature to put +1/+1 counters on, but Well, if they don't have that again, we could potentially focus fire when they swing. Maybe the strategy is to wait is to try to get them to swing. If they don't kill us, we threaten to kill them if we get like any +1/+1 counters or anything, or even just attach Most Strider's gear. Nope, that's not a plan anymore. Not sure we have a choice. We got to go for it. Okay. I probably shouldn't play the land because it'd be better to probably to bluff with the land in my hand by threaten because I could threaten its, I could pretend it's removal or something. But oh. Okay, thanks. All right, I'm keeping this in my hand because at least they don't. At least they pretend it's removal or something. All right. Well, I guess we'll read the story for now, and then maybe come back. Well, I might just draft off stream, but depends on how I feel. I might either come back later or just draft off stream. Claim this though. How many gems is that? 250. I do also need the packs because I'm trying to craft some more decks. I need more rare wild cards. Who threw a scan ship? I don't know what's lagging all of a sudden. My computer plugged in? Yep. I don't know what that was. Yeah, so we'll switch to the story, and maybe I read the story, take a break, come back. Like, thanks for that. And then Edge of Eternities, episode 6. Revisions 12. Death and Coach. Sammy flies to Seriema like death itself is riding in their hold. Taro Duend. This is IPVN Seriema. Echo 7. Babel 590. Declare an emergency. Please advise. The radio hisses. Stratosphere lightning bolts tolls out static. Taro Duend. Sammy sends again. This is IPVN Seriema. Echo 7. Babel 590. We are coming in fast. Declare an emergency. Please advise. Seriema, this is Toro Duend. No radar spoor. Storms, who are you? What is your emergency? Sammy tries not to shout. Toro Duend, mayday, mayday, mayday. 24 came on aboard with lethal radiation trauma. Report 4 cav dead hot. Request medical, whatever you've got. Toro Duend is a temporary settlement, a lagger where miners stage before heading out into the dying world. They must receive wounded cav. They must have a quick way to get them to a hospital on Cavaron before. When Alfrail's Hoplite came down, it irradiated the Cav Memorial Team with its fusion engine. The dosage was instantaneous. Their deaths were not. The Cav have three-dimensional burns, burned organs, burned bone, where penetrating radiation went through their armor and through them. Horrifying. They had just enough strength left to stagger into the Seriema's cargo bay and beg for rescue. Now they're all comatose, entombed in their armor, shot full of drugs. Of course, Sammy could have abandoned them, but Sammy's never been very good at that. Static on the radio, like the world's thinking about how much blood to spill. The Seriema shoots the rapids between wall of ash-rich stormcloud. Sammy keeps their hands busy. Fly first, talk second, think third. Wait, no, think second, talk third. Seriema, confirmed 2-4 casualties, radiation, confirm. You are first to land. Can you hover? We need a wet pad. The Seriema's arc jets tend to melt whatever they land on, so it's better to come down in water. It's interesting that they have like, that kind of, again, it just shows how much thought the writers were putting into like the idea of maybe like landing in the water, which is like a lot of sci-fi. There's a lot of sci-fi there that like play with that idea, but there's also a lot that don't. Like you really don't really think about how they land. We'll drink my water there. We can land on the slag pit. We will pull you into a cave hangar. Seriema, identify. Sammy winces. Echo 7, Babel 590. Kaiman track lists you. Untracked re-entry earlier. Seriema interrogative. Did you fire your fusion drive? Negative. Toro Duen negative. It wasn't us. A free company ship came down behind us. Kaiman track will have it, probably. Seriema, prepare to receive marshals for telemetry tech. Okay? Don't touch your computers. Sammy swears like they shouldn't. A really rude cav word. They look around guiltily for Tan, but Tan is tending to the dying cab. Okay, Taro Duend. Technically, they haven't done anything wrong. They came down, landed, found some sick cab, put them in the hold, and ferried them to safety. Only they're carrying a stolen rock from Sigma and a Monoist ship whose ship poisoned his cab. And when Sammy put the bleeding Monoist in the stasis cast with the rock, the Monoist had a fit. He passed out, and there's no moldy armor to blame this time. The rock did something to him. Now the rock is in stasis, and Afrail is locked up in one of the empty cabins with a medical sleeve on him, a medical sleeve on his right hand. And when Sammy put that sleeve on Afrail, they discovered a mystery: a perfect hole in his right palm. Jesus, sorry. None of this will survive a close inspection. Clear for descent. 0. Your vector. Oh, I guess also the perfect hole came from when he threw his black hole thing at the knight. I can't remember his name. Vondam? Well, yeah, when he threw his thing at Vondam. Which I should probably pull up. Just in case. None of this will survive close inspection. Cleared for descent. 0 your vector over the slag fields. Hold for final. Hang on, Seriema. Think fast, Sammy. You need a scam. Taro Duend is a burst of color in the basalt and glass of Caveron that is. It looks like a calf stomped on a fruit basket and shit on the platter splattered seeds left them to grow. Calf shit is pretty nutritious. You get a lot of it out of it in recycling systems. They like sell their shit for like good money. Like do calves, I guess technically literally crap money because you could just sell that. Sammy plays the telescope over the town. An inflatable barracks cluster around dirigible hauled smelting rings. Open markets get Sammy's stomach growling. They are healthy Cav and Toro Duen, hacking off cuts of barbecued meat with swords. And Cav beside... Hold on. Hello? I guess I can bring it upstairs. Why do you ask? Yeah, just cover it. Thank you. They are healthy Cav and Toro Duen, hacking off cuts of barbecue meat with swords, and Cav beside them haggling over salvage, and all around them the quick slap and kiss trade of that game called money. Like some species between the walls, the Cav do not use the Pinnacle's potluck economy. Not here, at least. So basically, the Pinnacles basically go off of like their economy is basically based on like vibes and like prestige, like basically just like on prestige as opposed to any physical currency. Sammy understands his place, a place to stockpile supplies and sell your finds. It must be under the coverage of the guns, or a falling mountain could wipe it all out, but not too far into the coverage, nor too close to the law. Also interesting to use like physical money, because I guess you could compare it to like Red's reliance like artifacts in mechanically. Like I don't think there's any like a deep read philosophically really, but I think mechanically like Red's connection to artifacts and the idea of like physicality, like what you can like physically get your hands on. Yeah, Sammy gets Taro Duen's scam. If it has a legal government, it will be an emergency government concerned with managing casualties and keeping the right kind of criminals in control. There will be a coach and a position, the two archetypical positions of authority in contra-imperial TMR culture that survived the break. The coach drives the team, and the Postilion navigates. Probably they are no friends of the Memorial Navy, but they'll like explaining a bunch of dead Kaimen even worse. But they'll like explaining a bunch of dead Kaimen even worse, so they'll help. But if there's heat, if word comes in to detain the Seriema, what will they do? Sammy could dump the sick Kaimen officers and fly away to the Metal Man. They're so close, but not close enough. The Seriema can't make another interplanetary boost without more water and fusion fuel. There's plenty of power left in the fusion reactor, enough to run the arc jets, but arc jets won't see them all the way to the Metal Man. They need to refuel. They hit the intercom. Tan, are you ready to do this? Yes. If they ask, my name's Goro Dohoro, and I'm very foolish. I don't think too good. Had a stroke. If they press us for identification, our flight plan is on file with the Pinnacle. Contact Infinite guideline. If they figure out who you are, Tan doesn't like this part of the plan and grumbles loudly before replying. We offer them a very large present. It offends Tan to think that a bribe could possibly get the local cab to ignore him, as if it's somehow belittling his exile. I think it's less belittling. Well, I'm wondering if it's less the belittling the state of his exile and more like he used to work here and work hard for it, so it kind of sucks that like things easily bribe. Sammy chews her lip. Tan, should we turn Afrael over to them? Why? He's guilty of weight crime. He fired his fusion engine on descent. He killed. He may yet kill all those soldiers. That's evil, isn't it? Again, use of like good and evil like definitely feels like a white line thing, like the idea of like a black and white morality. There's good and evil. It was a disaster, unpreventable death falling out of the sky. Cav live in disaster, Captain. The thing about disasters is Tunnock has to pause to collect himself. Disasters are fair. Disasters are random. 1,000 years ago, a stampede was a disaster. Now building a coral to divert the stampede into your neighbor, that's evil. A ship coming out of the sky and cooking you, is that disaster or is that evil? That's very, I'm actually impressed that Tunnock. I'm not saying like I'm surprised that Tunnock has like a I don't think Tunnock's stupid, but I'm kind of impressed they include like this, like Tunnock having a very interesting philosophical question and outlook on the world. I guess this also makes sense for his red philosophy. Like red is like freedom through action. So like the idea that, and also one thing you can see a lot in Magic is like red can be like compared to like tied to chaos, and the idea of like chaos being in a sense freedom. So it's very interesting to get this red chaos, this red character who sees this idea of chaos as like equal and fair, like being like freedom, but also like equal and fair. Like chaos does not discriminate. Chaos isn't like a government judging you, etc., etc. At least in theory. I mean, I would debate if chaos is actually fair, since arguably chaos is only fair if you're all like on the same playing field, and then if you're not on the same playing field, like you're oppressed or something, then arguably chaos isn't fair, because then you wouldn't have as much money or the resources to like come back from that. But here we have like, for example, Curse of Chaos. Like red, they love putting like chaos things in red, like Coronation of Chaos, Chaos Warp, Defender of Chaos. So very interesting seeing like a philosophical exploration of that outside of just like chaos. He's not saying chaos is fun per se, but he's like it is fair. And I don't know if he's giving a straight answer as to if he considers the ship evil. I guess he's asking like, it depends on if you think Afrael, if it was an accident, or if Afrael purposely came to cook people. I would call it evil. No, it's a disaster caused by neglect. You fix it with better procedures, better training, better warnings. Things fall out of the sky and kill you on Cavaron. Some idiot might be responsible. They might have neglected the safe way to do things. But that idiot didn't mean to kill you. They just caused a disaster, and disaster claimed you. You can't avenge a disaster. You can't punish a disaster, and you can only try to stop it or save people from it. It's when you try to steer the disaster that you cross into wrongdoings, because you're violating its fairness. So, okay, this is actually pretty interesting. We have another explanation of the color pie. So one of like the conflicts between white and red is like the idea of like white is like peace through order. White's like the idea that you should care about the greater good before your own like needs or wants, and also like the idea that you can make the world a better place, and it does that by like leading this idea of control and law, and that there's like, and white also goes into like an objective morality. But red sort of disagrees with this idea. Red's like the idea of like, it believes like don't it's more fair to like people just do what they want, or it's not to say that fair like can't have like a more complex political system. But like it's leaning more towards the idea that like even though white claims it wants fairness, white's actually unfair because it wants to meddle with like the way things are going. So like it's very interesting seeing this sort of explored, because like Sammy is white-red. Sammy is red, but they're also white. So I guess you see a bit of this inner conflict with Sammy and their questioning of this, because you could see the red-white as inner conflict, but also Tunnock is also red and also red-green. So it's interesting. So it's interesting exploring like where Tunnock and Sammy like differ in their philosophy with the conflict between red and white, without like So I think some, especially new players, they see the color pie and they go like, oh, white and red are enemies. That must mean every white character hates every red aligned character. But that's not actually how it works. A blue character can be friends with a red character, but they might just philosophically like disagree with them. Where's Tunnock? He has a mono red card. So it's interesting seeing this sort of like explored, and like it's like from a red, just red and white have different ideas of fairness, or how important fairness is too. But like how red and white can just have different importance of fairness. Like it's easy to go like, oh, white alignment's the good guy because white believes in objective morality. But from someone like Tunnock's perspective, it's like, you know, morally is less objective, and also like maybe it's more fair to just like let things happen in a certain like aspects, and you can't always like avenge or bring some sort of moral justice as like every event or blame someone for it. I wish I was better like at talking like on the spot, because I feel like I'd do a better job if I was like typing this as like an article or something. And also, I guess what this is saying is that we also know where Tanik stands on the trolley problem. Tanik's idea is, so White's opinion on the trolley problem is usually going to be to turn the trolley because you want to save as much people as possible. Is the morally right thing, that because your whole point is the greater good. You want to save as many people as possible. You can't always save everyone, but you want to save as many people as possible. So if you have the choice between one person and like two people, you'd probably go with the two people, save for like exceptions, like those people like pure evil or something. Here's like sort of Tanik's more red leaning idea of it, where it's just like, it is what it is. Kind of, which also gives a little bit of a display of like a bit more towards also green philosophy. I think there's a bit of green philosophy present here, like this idea that you shouldn't mess with the natural order or artificially try to change, like some things are just the way they are to an extent. And Tanik is, like we do know, red green at least at some parts of the story. So see, as a ship captain, I decide, as the Wormseeker's captain, must have decided to try edge the situation, close the ruptured compartments, cut off the air to the fires, lose a few, save the rest. A disaster culture will raise 100 people to save 10. We'll risk 100 people to save 10 every time. Never give up on anyone. So everyone knows they have a chance. Okay, and then we also get a bit of explanation. So again, like I said, White's usually going to lean towards the idea of saving as many people as possible, even if you have to sacrifice like a few. But Red, it's not that Red is illogical. I think people have a problem when they frame blue as the logical color, and then like every other color is illogical. I think blue probably thinks itself the most logical, but so does every other color. So I try to stray away from just calling blue logical. But Red is sort of like the idea that you should do what you want to do, and that also means acting on your emotions. And sometimes your emotions that you care about other people very strongly. So if you care, so that person means a lot to you, then Red is like, I'm willing to sacrifice to save this person if I sacrifice 10 other people, if I care about this person more. White's like, even if you care about that person, if everyone's equally moral, then you should let that person die for the greater good. So that's also another place where like Red and White differ, and where like you kind of see the points of both colors. Like it's not like, oh, White's the good, moral, upstanding one, and then Red's like the evil one. Because you could see some situations in which White's like, we just save the greater good, and you might go like, that's kind of fucked up. But you could also see some situations like Red is like, we should just save who you care about, and then go, that's kind of fucked up. And I think that's what people can miss in the color palette. It's more of like the colors are more neutral than given credit for. And the colors are also more conditionally correct. Like every color has like a situation in which you'd be like, you know what, you got a point. But at the same time, every color has a moment where you're like, that's kind of fucked up, and I don't think I'd agree with that philosophically. Even though there's also a lot of flexibility, the color palette is pretty vague. Like they represent vague philosophies. To live with disaster, you have to believe that it is random and uncaring and uncalculated and fair, and and we're all united against it. Or you'll go mad, the way humans do when they start seeing plans and everything. So I guess Tanik is also like throwing some shade at religion, like monoliths seeing plans, and like black holes and Palpatine seeing plans and stars and supernovas and all that shit. And it's like, so you also have this idea again of like order versus chaos, like in the same way that Red has this lean towards chaos because of the emphasis on freedom and the idea that in chaos you can do what you want. White is this idea of like order. Wow, this is none of the clerical, like this idea of order and like unity and like that everything is fair when it's orderly. Basically, what color order? Why did I say that? Everything is fair. Like White is trying to bring fairness. It's something that you kind of like bring, and it's like there's no fairness and chaos in the perspective of. I mean, there's not as much fairness and chaos in the perspective of White, because White's like in chaos, the big just shit on the weak. And here's a good example. Especially like sets like Strixhaven definitely explored like the conflict between enemy colors. Like Dean of Chaos. The Dean of Chaos is someone who believes is exploring the idea of like how Red might look at history, and the idea of like history is basically just a chaotic mess of random shit happening. Because people at the end of the day are emotional creatures, and they're very like chaotic and emotional. Because like if you don't know, they're part of Lorehold, so the idea is like it's how they approach history. So Plarg and most of the red aligned people of Strixhaven would be at least the red aligned of Lorehold House. The idea is like exploring the idea of like red as like history as like chaotic, as people as individuals acting emotionally and not like always like rationally. And then Augusta is like the idea of like looking at history as like a big picture, sort of like everything is like orderly, and then there is like a way things work. Like yes, people are emotional, but things exist in a broader context of like societies and stuff, and that everyone's influenced each other with each other, etc., etc. And the point is that like I don't think either one of these people are completely wrong. I think the idea, I'm not doing a good job of explaining because you might just go like, oh, Plarg is wrong because obviously because we live in the context of all that we is. But I guess the point is like, I think the point is that both of them have a point, even though they disagree with each other, and that I will probably talk about this more when I get into when I talk about Strixhaven at some point or something. So like why as like a conjunction to like, you know, law, order, like, and just different ideas of what fairness actually is. Because like from my perspective, if you're red isn't fair because like if it's just chaos, then whoever's just the bigger, tougher guy was come around and just shit stomp everyone else, and that's not fair. Like everyone should have a fair chance. And then like from red's perspective, that is fair. If you want something and you can take the thing, you are allowed to do so. At this point, of course, that's not to say red can't be compassionate. Like red is about all like embracing all emotion, including like love and caring about your fellow man and your neighbor and stuff. So it's like red is like, yeah, if someone wants to take some shit, then they can, but if you want to stop them, you also can, if that's how you feel emotionally. But don't like be trying to like put up a bunch of like weird morality and like systems and structures and like trying to convince people to not care about themselves, to care about like people they've never met before more than they care about their own family and their own friends, etc., etc. I actually have written a bit about like the color palette. I'm currently on black. I have written about white, and you know what? Maybe if I just pull that out, because part of the reason I wrote this is because I could come to moments like this. I'm just gonna pull that up. I'm not gonna read the entire thing. We're just gonna read we're going to read part of it. I'm gonna read the conflict between red versus white because I feel like that will help get my point across better than just rambling wildly here. White color morals. Let's go to red. Enemy color red. How long is this? Is this too long? This might be a pain in the ass. Also, the reason spacing is so weird is because when I was originally writing this, I had so there was no page breaks. I feel like there's two main reasons white philosophy tends to deride red philosophy so much. First off, there's a freedom versus security angle between red and white, as red philosophy is one that puts freedom and emotion above white's moral and civil laws, as well as the good of the group. Then there's also the fact that red philosophy encourages a short-sighted, live-in-the-moment type of belief system that heavily conflicts with white's ideals of greater good of the group, and long-term goals. While the conflict between red and white is ultimately one of freedom, red, versus security, white philosophy would usually see the conflict as a battle of chaos, red, versus order, white. And I need to stress that I'm writing this article mostly from the perspective of white. I do it for all the color, for all the color philosophies I've covered so far. I write it from their perspective, and so to give them a fair shake. So if it seems like I'm bashing red a bit, it's just because the article's about white from a mostly white line perspective. The conflict is ultimately one that asks if we should follow our hearts and embrace freedom, even if that freedom potentially leads us to hurting ourselves / others, or if we should play it safe and try to minimize suffering, even if we give up some of our freedoms and desires to do so. Also, how much personal freedom is worth societal protection. It's important to remember that red believes in freedom through action, which means red believes you should follow your heart and do what your emotions and instincts tell you to do, even if you want to have a fulfilled life. Red believes that you should be able to love what you want to love, do what you want to what you enjoy, or cry if you feel like crying, but this extends to potentially harmful things too. Red says that if you feel like yelling and punching someone, then you should do so. If you want that food, you should take it even if other people may need or want it. Using the bread example mentioned in a couple of previous sections of this article, if there are 20 pieces of bread and 20 people, white says we should probably make sure each person gets one piece of bread, but red is likely to try to eat until it's full, or getting the tastiest piece of bread, even if it means eating more than one piece. From red's perspective, you are not obligated to give others bread if you don't feel like it. Now, I also want to be clear that, like, again, this is from white's perspective. So there is a version of red where it's like they share food, but the reason eating would be different. Like, oh, I care about people, so I'm going to get bread and give it to my family. I may not give bread to everyone. I might give bread to everyone if I like everyone there, but if I don't like everyone there, well, maybe my brother's here, maybe my sister's here, maybe my dad's here, and I care about them enough to maybe sacrifice my bread or take bread from other people and give it to them. Now, red isn't as ruthless as black philosophy, but it's still living in the emotional moment lifestyle. But it's still living in the emotional moment lifestyle. I might have to go back and read this to make sure everything's correct. Now, red, not like I did use sources and stuff. I mean, just like make sure everything's grammatically correct. Now, red isn't as ruthless as black philosophy, but it's in the emotional moment lifestyle is a force of chaos to white that conflicts with its long-term and group-oriented goals. If black murders someone, it's probably for some selfish desire or goal, i.e., first-degree murder. But if red murders someone, it's probably because it didn't rein in its emotions and acted in a moment or passion, manslaughter. I'm using murder as an example. Red and black are not the only colors that can murder people or have reasons to murder people. Even white can murder people. I'm just making a point about like the common motivation. Like usually if black is going to murder someone, it's going to be first degree murder. It's going to be calculated. If red does, it's usually going to be a moment of passion. Red philosophy encourages short-sightedness, carelessness, and flying by the seat of your pants. How much do I want to read this? So I don't really want to read all this. I actually typed a lot about this. I can also talk about other allies. A common red and white theme you see. Red and white do have some key agreements though. First is that white is not heartless, and this understands how much it can be important to you or used to win people over. There is the fact that red is a philosophy that would say willing to put others first, even if it doesn't offer you tangible benefit, can be a good thing. Starting with the first point, it is important to remember that white genuinely cares about people in general. It wants to make sure that net happiness or satisfaction of the group is as high as it can be. Red is not just about rage, but it is a philosophy. But it is also a philosophy of things like love and care. And white does usually want to display emotion because it generally does care about the people it is trying to help. While white doesn't like how red will follow its emotions without regard to what it should or shouldn't be doing, white does value passion in its organizations, and it does really want to show its comrades and people that it is trying to help and or protect. It honestly does care about their well-being, along with the fact that white isn't just a dispassionate robot. And I'm probably gonna stop here because I think I'm getting out of hand. But I also see white and red a lot of military and armies. Like they do have agreements. Like that, like red can have a very strong sense of loyalty. If I was fair, I would go read Red's article, but I don't have that up yet because I haven't finished it. I'm still on black, but we'll get back to the story. So anyway, all this is to say I'm trying to extrapolate on the point of like a bit of like red versus white color philosophy and like the idea of like when you should intervene and like chaos versus order and what is and isn't fair. At this point, of course, we're not talking about Alfredo's crimes anymore. We're talking about Tunuk. Tan was a Cavaron Memorial Navy command pilot. He had a role of lead Cayman. Is Cayman like hold on. Sorry. So in the last, not slang, but in the last story we were told it's pronounced like Cayman. Is that like a lizard? Is that like the pun? Because the Kavu are kind of like lizard like? This is Cayman track. It's kind of like it's like a gator-ish thing. Alligator. I guess it's a pun. Well, not really a pun, but it's like a reference to them being like lizard-like. You can say commandment. In the role of leader of Cayman Dawn, you can say commandment during a precipitous, unforeseen ring strike. He was the spaceborne observer and controller of the guns, and as lead Dawn, he made a choice. Last answer, that choice he has ever willingly made. So we're getting an explanation about why he doesn't like make choices, and it seems like so. First of all, like this could also potentially play into his red and green philosophy. Is green is like the idea of growth through acceptance, like letting things progress as they are and not trying to interfere or forcefully change them. Like any change should be naturally occurring. So there's this idea of like that green I think does represent Tunuk pretty well as someone who doesn't want to make a choice, where it's like let the world like flow as it is. Don't try to like force things to happen. Don't try to like fight against the way the world's going. If someone makes a choice, then that's just the way it is. And there's like this idea of green being like the nature color, which is partially true, but I think it's kind of like a bit of like a pigeonholing what green actually is. Green is about like accepting for the world as it is. So that's why you can, for example, have green on New Capenna, despite the fact that New Capenna is like basically like only like a city left. If you live in a city and the city's the only way to survive, green might say, well, then that's just the way it is. You shouldn't be trying to expand the city. You shouldn't be trying to like change the city. You should just accept the way it is. If the city does change, it happens naturally. Like it naturally grows. So this is also why you can have like green characters like in a sci-fi setting like this. It's like the idea that like you might live in a world where it's just like, yeah, things travel through space and that's just the way it is, and you shouldn't really try to fight that. But you could also have a version of green where it's like people aren't meant to fly through space, destroy all spaceships. Green is a very interesting color because people just have like this misconception that green is just like if you're not butt naked, like ass naked in the woods, like just roughing it, like some like weird like caveman diet, like paleo diet weirdo, then you're not really green. But green's actually a lot more like interesting and a nuance of a color philosophy than people give it credit for. Green is like accept the world for as it is, and if it does change, embrace the change, but the change has to be natural. You can't it's like the, you know, the saying, like, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. That's a very green quote to me. It's like, the idea is like, the fish ain't meant to climb a tree. All right, so let's let the fish swim and stop trying to force the fish to do things that a fish shouldn't be doing. Anyway, here we go. Plasma Bolt, sorcery. Plasma Bolt deals 2 damage to any target. Plasma Bolt deals 3 damage instead of a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or a spell warp this turn. Excess energy from the Moxite core is fused into the destructive rays of plasma. So it's kind of interesting because I don't know if I'm supposed to take the explosion as the Plasma Bolt, but it kind of seems like what's happening is that this ship, you can see it's passing through the explosion. So it seems like the Plasma Bolt is both these and also the result of the explosion. So it's trying to show you this is what will happen if you get hit by it, but also look at these cool plasma guns. And you can see it's emerging out of there because you can see like literally the fire coming off the wings and stuff. Obviously they lean this is probably Cav that is, because it's a bunch of rocks like floating, and then they look really close together, and it seems like they're probably flying up from the planet. And obviously there's a lot of like fire explosions and red, because this whole thing has just a red tint to it, because obviously it's a red card. They want to convey that. I've already talked about like red's connection to fire at length, like the idea of like fire traditionally, especially like in alchemical and like Greek thought of like what the 4 elements are, is like a more basic element connected to emotion. And even then, like high temperature, even in modern days, still connected to like emotion, like the flame of passion, my blood is boiling if you're really angry, etc., etc. There's a lot of rocks here. Like, again, earth isn't the basic like classical element that like has a connection to like the idea of like the body, and the red is like about like just following what your body wants. Like if you're hungry, then you know you should eat. You should just do what you want. This ship does look like some of the more Cav ships. Like, not only does it have like the yellow highlights, but also just like it's like clunkier. It's like sharp edges and like almost like more square and like rectangular shapes, as opposed to some of the more smooth shapes that some of the other factions have. Like some of the other factions are more like if you go to like for example, the EU Midians, like their ships are like organic. The Ilvoy, they're not, the Ilvoy ships are less organic, but they do have like this smooth, like, because they're made of like clouds, like in vapor solidified. If I can find it. Yeah, like this, like the scan ship, like it's literally like looks like almost like a droplet of water in like a cloud, which is probably literally made of that. Even like the monoliths have like smooth shapes, like their ships and stuff. Like, look how smooth that is. I mean, obviously, like, focus on plasma. Once again, heat, plasma. You're probably gonna see like a lot of red cards reference plasma. I don't know, just interesting. Like, I don't have a ton to say about the ship. But once again, I think the shading is interesting. Like, it's very kind of like, it's because like the brightness of the light, like the light's clearly coming from behind it, like the brightest light, but it's also gives like interesting like stark shading like inside the ship. Interesting contrast. Interesting that this rock is not as red as everything else. I just assume that's just because like the color of the rock. Like, I assume this entire thing is kind of bathed in the red light, probably from Cab, and then this is like was probably already some cool tone or something, so it comes together like look like less red than the rest of the place. Obviously, Plasma Vault, it just does damage. Like you shoot something, it does damage. There's more damage if it has Void, which I guess the idea is that it's attached to a ship. It's like this card just picks a ship, and we know ships can like, some ships can like warp travel. I think I can't really think of much of a flavor reason for this as much as like a mechanical reason, just like to get you to play Void. I guess because Cab that is like constantly crumbling and things are disappearing and dying all the time. So I guess the idea is that like if you're like on Cav, like shit might just disappear. Excess energy from the Moxite core is fused into a destructive ray of plasma. So, did I accidentally close a Planeswalker's Guide? He commanded the guns of Cameron to fire on a Blide heading for the city of Somotank, where 4 million Cav dwell on the drainage link of Great Shadow Springs. He could have accelerated the Bolide, moving its strike point further along its ground track, but then it might have airburst over Somotank. So he break the Bolide instead. It fell sooner, closer onto the mountain village in the rushdown range, one with a total population of less than 30,000. So this literally is. I don't think he meant to do it. Obviously, I don't think he came into this thinking it was like a trolley problem, but it ended up being a trolley problem. And when he accidentally picked the choice for, and I guess this is part of the reason why he feels like, why he's like so like, Sammy's point is that why he's hard on himself, and maybe also why he's fighting against Sammy's like point about like, is it evil? He's like, he's basically saying I'm the bad guy because I should just let that shit just like keep going. 5,000 survived the strike. Jesus. The abomination of this choice is deeply tied into Cav ethics and is very simple to explain. An natural disaster was about to kill 4 million Cav. They had their chances to prepare. They had the chance that disaster and Providence had gave them. Tunnock killed 25,000 Cav. Tunnock meddled with their fair chance. Which, I mean, I wouldn't... Okay. I think I would argue there probably was a way... well, maybe not technology, but like in my like philosophical like perspective, it's kind of like I'm not saying you should have killed 1,000 people, but I am saying like maybe I would have probably definitely been looking for ways to like stop that from hitting at all. But again, we get like a very red versus white like dynamic. Like white would have said like you made a hard choice, but you probably had to do it. Like you saved 4 million people, and that outnumbers that outnumbers 25,000. But the Cav we know are a very red society on a very red planet. So from their perspective, it's like, look, especially Tunnock since Tunnock is red-green, they're like, look, you had your chance. They had their chance. They could do whatever they wanted. They could leave. They could fight it, but they chose to stay there. And then you meddle with that chance. Everyone should just have the freedom to basically do what they want. And I don't know, it's a very interesting exploration of a red society outside of just like anarchy. Like it's very easy to just be like, oh, red doesn't want society. Red just wants anarchy. And like it kind of depends. Like there definitely can be red aligned anarchists, but it's not like red is against all forms of like society. I think people have this idea like white's a society color, and then red and black like hate society. Like they want to tear down society. It's like not necessarily. They just have different ideas of what society should be, and what society should reward. White's idea of society is like it should be equal, and it should like focus on the greater good. And black is like society should focus more on helping the individual person. He did not trade 4 million lives for 25,000. He cannot trade lives. He engineered a disaster. He preferred the death of some to the deaths of others, and that is an old, despicable corruption to the Cav. When the people in charge of managing disasters start to have preferences, even a preference for 30,000 over 4 million, terrible things follow. So it's very funny because I guess if this was a white line society, from their perspective, if a white aligned person chose to sacrifice to the 35,000, they would have been like, well, that's not a preference. That's just like we're just saving more lives. But they have a very different idea of what preference is. There is no ambiguity here for the Cav. There is no trade-off for gray area. Tunnock put his hands on the traces of fate. The cards were dealt. The Koyos were thrown. I guess coins. Kios. And Tunnock leapt in to rearrange their fall. Tunnock is a murderer, not just a murderer, but a murderer of engineered misfortune. Tunnock is a traitor to the solidarity of all Cav against disaster. I definitely do get that's not like I completely disagree with the Cav. I definitely do get their idea, the point. Like maybe the city had like a plan or some like bunkers or something, and then you just fucking like last minute rerouted that shit to hit like people who had no idea that shit was even gonna hit them. So I definitely get that point, but I think it's very interesting that this is like a philosophical question where it's almost like I could see an argument for either one. Like you could argue that even if Tuck didn't mean to, might have made the right choice there, but at the same time, it's just like, do the people that say know they're about to get hit with them by a meteor, and they just fuck them over because they would have prepared otherwise if they knew they were about to be hit, but he changed the last second. The airport can't take the Seriema. It's built for light space planes. Turo Duen's control tower talks Sammy down in a shallow pool of water. That's probably once a smelter's exhaust field. The moment that Sammy cuts thrust, someone opens the sluice gate and drains the slag pool. Cav rovers and rigs burst out of the access road and dash for the Seriema, throwing up spray and blasting their sirens. Sammy makes a silent little cheer. Even here on the edge of this world's disintegration, they've got ambulances, a disaster culture. Along with the emergency medical services, which in Tamir tradition is called trample. Like, if you don't know Magic, there's a mechanic called trample, which like excess damage can be dealt to like the player. So it's kind of funny. And also, red is one of the colors that gets trampled. Red and green get trampled the most. Come the coach's mother and rival salvagers curious about this newcomer on the territory. Several juveniles curious to see the spaceship. Emergency engineers who plan to drag the Seriema into a cave lined with radiation blocking panels as if the ship itself is radioactive. I mean, better safe than sorry though, right? Like if something starts leaking, you definitely don't want. Well, I guess it was actually the Hope Light that made it happen, I guess, but the The political position with a small staff handheld and a small staff accompanying and motley others. Tan has stripped the comatose caiman out of the armor, and they wait, wrapped in emergency blankets, drooling thick mucus as their throat linings die. Again, very vivid imagery. The trample ambulances take them away. I can't wait till we get like an ambulance that has trample, a red-green ambulance that has like 404 trample vehicle. A crowd of calves stare up at Sammy. The coach, his mother, and the postilion come forward. The coach wields an enormous staff that looks as if it could be used as a radio antenna. Cute detail for sci-fi setting. The coach looks at Sammy first with one eye, then the other, and enunciates very carefully, almost phonetically. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth, Sammy says. The coach listens to something, probably a translator of I. The truth is, I came down to Cavaron. Oh, Sammy gets it. The truth is, they'll be like, if the authorities show up and they start asking shit, here's what you're gonna say. This is the fucking truth. The truth is, I came down to Cavaron to get a stasis casket. I found these soldiers in distress, so I flew them straight here. Instead of leaving them to die. The coach has been told on the ride over here that Sammy is a human, and that humans are obligated mimics. Speak to them, and they're compelled to reply with the same words. I mean, I guess humans do like mimic behaviors a lot. I just don't think it's a exactly accurate portrayal of humans as simple as you say something and then they mimic it like a parrot. But so I flew them straight here instead of leaving them to die because I'm not a dung chip, Sammy says. And now I need to fuel up and get out of here. I'm leaving Cavaron with my stasis cask and going away forever. But first I'm going to provide proof that I wasn't involved in their deaths. My engineer telemetry, you'll see it, hasn't fired since I decelerated for re-entry. There is a brief conference with the coach's mother. A juvenile peeks out at Sammy and makes a threatening display. Sammy bares their teeth and growls. The juvenile skips and withdraws. It's kind of mean. But I guess the kid was being nice, but there is some mirth. The juvenile's minder gives her a fond cup, hurling her down the ramp where she displays excellent tumbling skills. Ah, Cab, they don't harden up properly unless they're tossed around. The thing you do with your kids, just like fucking dunk them like a basketball, toughen them up. The coach comes back at Sammy with a big Cav grin, which looks like a toothsome yawn. If I really did save those soldiers, I'm a pretty good shot. I'd be welcome to stay a day or two and trade. Maybe tell some stories to my juveniles. Maybe run them over with the trucks. They can say a human harden them up. That's so funny. See, the reason you guys suck is because nobody ran you over in your truck when you were young. When I was young, oh, we got those 16-wheelers, man. Oh, shit. Now, it's hub bikes and shit. It's not the same. Sammy can't help but grinning back. I'm a pretty good sort. I love to stay at your home and hit your kids with that truck. But first, I have to refuel and fly as soon as I can. Damn, the coach says. Damn, Sammy agrees. The political postilion, identified by a staff a lot smaller but a lot less homemade than the coaches, is speaking to Tunuk and Imperial Kavar, who took their armor off. Thought it best for ambulance help. You wanted to keep the armor? Sell it? It's full of their filth. No time to identify. They were sick. I gave them water and comfort. Did I do something wrong? How long have you been in space, child? Can't remember. Cav are tough, child. We need to be the toughest up there in space. We need to prove it's our new home. This home is gone, you understand? It won't last. Oh yes, Tunuk says. No home here, I understand. Good lad, but you're not very quick, not a resilient thinker. Did space make you this way? I mean, no, because we know it's because accident. Oh no, Tunuk says. Mining accident, no air. Had to breathe liquid. Got stuck in me though. Made clots. Had a few strokes. Strokes. A relatable injury for the Cab. Cab blood likes to clot quickly and hard. I see. It's good you can help around the ship. You're a good first mate. The best, Tunuk says. And this mining accident, where did it happen? Sigma's Reach, Tunuk says. Which is a very odd lie because there were never any miners with Sigma's Reach. Only the political postulation doesn't take it as a lie. He just nods. Yes, Sigma's Reach. They'd want Cav labor, wouldn't they? They've been undercutting our mock site with all their fancy mechans. But in the end, if you want to carve treasure out of precious ground, you always need Cav. So once again, we have this association that red has with like Earth, and the idea since like that Cav are mostly red aligned, it's like, or at least Cav on this plane. Since they're mostly red aligned, they have a connection like this Earth and mining and stuff. Revision 12, the postilion. It's so weird that Sammy just can't let it go. He thought Sigma's Reach had people in it. He thought Sigma was exporting under the gift value of Cav mineral, undercutting the gift value of Cav minerals. That's what I saw in the Mallet registries. Tan confirms. The huddled in the corner outside after I was locked cabin. He is still in a trance or comatose or dying. Touching the weird rock is a thing. 10 years of falling mallow. But we were there, Tan. The mine never opened. Nobody even worked that ground. So why would the gift value fail? I mean, why would the gift value fall? I'm assuming it has something to do with Tezzeret, because since Tezzeret's a planeswalker, I mean, not to say he mocks everyone else, but it's probably Tezzeret and Jace doing something. Tenex works his jaw. So there's a start with a curse on it, Captain. Ghostly things are always happening. I don't know why, but I know we need to refuel before we can fly. Do we have any spirits in the set anyway? I don't think we even have spirits in this set. I'm not to say that they aren't real. I'm just curious. We do have elementals. There is an elemental. Especially like a specific elemental, remnant elemental, which says, even until Exodus Day, those in power on Cameron refuse to acknowledge that the planet was trying to tell them something. So I guess there is like weird, spooky shit that could happen. Yeah, I'll go ask for fuel. You might have to buy it with money. Oh shit, you could claim my bounty. That's probably worth money. Tan, Sammy kicks. That's not funny. What's up with you? Tan grunts. Sammy figures he's probably feeling complex about coming home to Caveron. They would say, Tan, you really didn't do anything wrong. But they've had that conversation so many times before, and it never worked. But Cap Centers, he did wrong. He took the wheel of a truck headed for 4 million people and steered it into a mere 25,000 people. It wasn't their turn to get hit, and Tan made it turn. If you want to go check out the mystery of Sigma's Reach, Tan says, I should be the one to get fuel for the Siriema. Oh, Sammy wishes they weren't thinking the same thing. Tan, if you're recognized, there are 2 things we need to do before we can fly, Captain. You do one, I do the other, then we go. There's only one thing we need to do. The other thing is a sop to my curiosity. Are you willing to let your curiosity go unsatisfied? No, Sammy says. Doing Tan the Cursey directness, there's just no way they can't investigate. Weird things keep happening around this damn rock, and if they don't figure out what it is before they gift it to the metal man, they will get it for the rest of the time. No, I'm not. It's actually, I know Sammy's probably not the most like logical person, but I think that's just a pretty good reasoning, honestly, because you might just give this guy like a super nuke or something, and you wouldn't even realize. Then make a choice, Captain. So Tan goes to buy fuel and reaction mass for the Siriema. And Sammy, mouse small in the crowds of calves, goes to find the political postilion and ask him what he knows about Sigma's Reach. Taro Duens, a working town, cordwainers and armorers, long wincers and her care gardens, slack shops, garages, smokehouses, and entire truck-sized carcasses rotating over pools of bubbling tar. It smells hot and it smells... what's a very like interesting, like a very interesting scene, like the idea, like they're putting in like stuff that we'd recognize, like smokehouses and stuff, but they're like lung rinsers and whatever that is. And then bubbling tar is an interesting way to like cook something. It smells like hot grease and thunder, which is the smell of fresh ozone from the airport lasers. You don't walk on the ground. You use narrow walkways on wobbly pilings to soak up quake trimmers. Rack pilots project their 10 highlight reels. The 10 highlight reels in walls of smoke, waiting for a crew to approach and say, we could use a pilot like you. We're headed to look out for our fortunes. So it's like your resume. It's like a highlight reel, but it's also a resume. Do you think it's like shitty like edits over here? It's like a cab like doing some crazy like shitty maneuver with like a fucking like dubstep song over it. Same way determined to stay focused gets your fork with the sheer place of life and starts singing. Why not? And cap settlements have a rhythm. No. That's not some daft human cliche comparing things to music because you don't have a better word for it. It tugs at my associations. Cap settlements have an actual rhythm. Cap footsteps always fall into sync all across the crowd. This evolved millions of years ago. Sammy supposes so that any threatening noise will disrupt the beat. Walk with rhythm so you can detect the worm. Wouldn't surprise me if they have worms on that planet at some point. But of course, Sammy's legs aren't the right length to step the rhythm. They sing along anyway. An old Duemi song from the laundry on the worm speaker. This is not the right way to avoid attention, but there's no way to avoid attention anyway if you are a fey little alien. I don't think Sammy's not literally a fairy, but I guess they look fairy sized compared to everything else. Or I guess otherworldliness. Having supernatural powers or clairvoyance. So it's basically just like looking weird. Captain Sammy, they tell the board cav on the political postillion's porch. I'd like to make an inquiry with the postilion. Okay, is postilion like an actual word? Like if I look this up, will I get a definition? Noun, one who rides as a guide on the near house of one of the pairs attached to a coach or post. Chase, especially without a coachman. A person who rides a harnessed horse that is pulling a horse-drawn vehicle, such as a coach, rather than driving from behind. So I guess they're kind of like a guide of some sort. Like, Your cav art is admirable, the cav says. The postilion can see you in perhaps 2 hours. Oh, my mother's milk. You are the head of the head of a conspiracy against me, Sammy cries. In 2 hours, my business will be dead in a hole with you to blame. Bursting the cab, that seems like a very inciting thing to say. Bursting the cab, reads up and snorts. I'm the creditor of all your debts, small one. This goes on for a while until Sammy finally secures a meeting in half an hour. The delay is necessary so that Sammy can be seen waiting to meet the postilion, which will make the postilion look important. An alien kept waiting. I mean, I love like the little, not only like the haggling, but also kind of like the little like formalities that you have to meet. Like you can't just say meet me now because you seem like an asshole. Like you need to like put like a little time in there. Finally, the door woman unlocks a thick rambly carpet for Sammy to proceed into the office. The postilion stamps out a greeting with his staff. Captain Sammy the Sariema. Where is your addled man, Gorodoro? Out buying fuel. You trust him with such a task? I trust him with my life, Sammy says, wishing they had a staff to rattle. And I trust also that my engine telemetry has satisfied you. Send a camera on before for inspection. The matter of your guilt or innocence, the postilion wobbles his staff back and forth. It is not mine to decide. Though I think you won't wait to hear the verdict, will you? No, sir. My departure window is closing, and I must fly. If you think I'm guilty of weight crime, give me my ship's name to the Pinnacle, and they will find me. Of course, which isn't completely wrong. Like it's a half lie, but like at the same time, yeah, probably like if they really think they did something wrong. Of course. Do humans take silt? Alas, we lack the gizzard for it. Is there a word? Is there a word, please, of the cab? Is there a word, please, of the cab we rescued? Silt is like rock, right? It's like grains and shit. Yeah, fine sand, clay, and Michioka by running water. So once again, they're emphasizing like this relationship between the Red Alliance like faction, and creature type of the cab with like rock, like they literally eat rock. Also sent to Cav before for treatment. Though I understand the prospects are poor, the postilion looks over Sammy with interest. Are you a liar, Captain Sammy? Habitually, Sammy says. Is there any particular lie you're interested? You let the coach treat you like a dumb automaton, feeding you questions to answer, mimic forcing. I have been educated, Captain. I know mimic forcing will not work on a human. You wanted him to think you're a simple little creature. Why did you do this? It strikes me that they are the guest actor in a particularly exciting episode of Toro Duen's day-to-day life. The Human, an episode in which a human claims to have rescued a team of cat from radiation death, but can our hero, the incorruptible postilion, exiled to his scrappy little salvage town, extract the truth. This isn't the first time they reference like episodes like this. This is obviously sci-fi settings. They probably have like shows and stuff, but it's also interesting because like I could totally see this also be like an episode of, like Star Trek or something. Like it could be that kind of like reference, not like specifically to Star Trek, but like the idea like it could be a Star Trek-esque show or some sort. I need to fly, they say, choosing the smallest part of honesty. As I said, my departure window is closing. Departure window on a fusion-powered ship. I dare say you can go where you please, when you please. Don't question me on my flight plans, sir. I came here to ask after the people I saved, and I asked you for your information. I want to know what you know about Sigma's Reach, where you came from. Now that must be a bold guess. Did I? When I was in your hold unloading our wounded, I saw the hot cell cast. It had a destination stamp, Sigma's Reach. How are our rivals up there in the heavens doing? Yes, he is sharp. Your rivals? Postilion protrudes his lower jaw and pours a stream of hot silt into it. So I guess it's like tea for them. Steam comes out of his nostrils. Should I say our enemies? We doomed our world, Captain Sammy, trying to get the riches out of it. So also like this idea of like greed dooming the world, which is a common like sci-fi like trope or just trope in general, like fantasy, like the idea of like respecting nature and not causing global catastrophe by harvesting all your resources. But we also get like Red, and like I said again, Red is focused on like the earth and rock, but also maybe like a bit of like critique of what like some of the weaknesses of Red, like the idea of Red being potentially a bit like too hedonistic in some ways, like the idea of like, oh, we're rich, we want more money because then we can get more shit, and then just the short like sightedness that red philosophy can have, like just acting how you want to in the moment, get what you want, get the things you want. Don't think too hard about like, or you can't think about it only if you want to. Like, so there's a bit of like exploring like maybe like the negative side of red here. Maybe like the short-sightedness of Red in a way, like a Red philosophy of like act in the moment. You want to get rich, get rich. You want to get shit. You want to buy stuff, and maybe not really thinking about like, hey, maybe if we like put the greater good of the planet above ourselves or what our individual wants, then maybe we wouldn't you know, we wouldn't have like a dying planet that's like shattering in a million pieces. And when doom was certain, we realized the only way to save ourselves, to send children to the stars, was to triple down to mine through the doom. Now some consortium from beyond the stars thinks they can get more of the store planet. This sterile gonad, insulting to every cav and to me personally. You personally. What art is this? Hopefully it's not unused art again. Hopefully we can find it. Looks like some sort of artifact. Here we go. Molded Moxite. That was pretty easy. Molded Moxite. One generic, one red. Artifact. When this artifact enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. So I think it's just mostly there for like mechanical reasons. Sacrifice this artifact. Create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. So this is one thing you see. Red is just one to care about the artifact sacrifices. But in this case, I think the sacrifice is meant to represent like molding it into something else. I think in this case, the robot, you're using the Moxite to make the robot. Only the most skilled matter shapers can imbue Moxite with other raw energies, but the rewards are well worth the dangers. So Moxite, I guess, seems dangerous to mess with, and matter shapers sound like some sort of like magic wizard thing. I mean, it's not like that much to say about this art. Clearly, like a Cav's holding it, so they want to emphasize that it's like probably from on the Cav homeworld, or that it's important to the Cav. And then you have like this sort of silvery like metal. So you know it's metal. It's like silvery. It's shiny, but also it's something like it's red. It's glowing red, and it's not just glowing red around it. It's like red within it. So it's like this force is like coming from within this metal itself. And red does have like association with like blacksmithing. I don't think it's necessarily for a philosophical reason. I think it's more like a symbolic reasoning. And that, like I said, red has a strong connection to heat. And this idea that blacksmithing, you're usually going to use heat to meld the metal. But additionally, there is a bit of philosophy there, even though, despite what I just said, and the fact that like red has a strong connection to like art in Magic the Gathering, with the idea of like art being a form of self-expression. Both red and blue in particular seem to like have a strong art leaning in general. You can see this especially on like Strixhaven with like the Prismari. So it's like the idea in the case of blue, it's like blue and red. Like I'm not gonna get into blue and art in the moment, but like, well, maybe I will. Basically, like the relation between blue and art, it is kind of like the idea of like perfecting stuff and like using them, like honing the mind, etc., etc. And like trying to like and like different approaches to art. Like you have the blue part of art, which is like do like study, like get everything down to perfection, and then red the relation to art is more like the idea of like self-expression. It's like red's about emotion and following what your heart wants, and a way to convey that is like creation and using art and like such as blacksmithing, etc. Obviously you can tell this is volatile because it's like literally like crackling like electricity. And we know red has like a association with like lightning and electricity just because like it can be used like fire. It's very hot, but also moves very fast and suddenly. So it's like this idea of like volatile, like emotion, etc. Yes, I was long on Moxite futures. Do you have futures up there in space? I understand the concept. Pinnacle economics does include futures in the form of promises, though speculation on the value of vitals like food and fuel is despicable. You gambled that the value of Moxite would keep going up, and instead it plummeted, undercut by cheap, clean Moxite from Sigma's reach. He stamps his staff to seek relief from less respectable elements of our planetary economy. Drugs? So here I am among the less respectable elements, instead of back and Vu with Hearth. Sammy feels dizzy. They want to sit down. You're sure of this? The Moxite came out of Sigma's reach, as sure as fever. Have you spoken to anyone from Sigma's reach? I'd sooner choke. So you don't know. Know what? What do I need to know to accept that the price fell? Sigma's reach never opened. The Pursuing wobbles in surprise. I beg your pardon? The miners never arrived. The mines never opened. There has never been any production from Sigma's reach. But that can't be. The price of Moxite. You were just there. I saw it. The hot cell on your hold. So I can promise you, watchful postilion, that Sigma's reach is empty, just machines and dust, and the sound of a cat crying and stone rattling against the walls of a pool. This has been a very interesting conversation. Yes, it has, but we're not done. How could my investments have ruined how could my investments have been ruined by a mine that never opened? Tell me, Space Fairy, tell me. It's funny because fairies are an actual creature type, but they probably don't have, at least not in this system. It'd be funny if there were like fairy aliens in some other system, but I wish I could. I have only one more question for you, sir. The postilion leans heavy on his staff. What is it? Sammy produces a picture of Miri. Have you seen this? The doorwoman bursts in. Postilion, word on the wire. Oh no, they've caught Tan. What is it? Another ship coming in, sir. It's the Sunstar Free Company. They're demanding we turn over the escaped spies we're harboring. Both Cav look directly at Sammy. I'm not a spy. I'm just tell me nothing. The day I turn a fugitive over from Toro Duend on my to any authority. Pursuing roars is the day Toro Duen falls into a crack in the world. This is a Harper for scum. Go raise the coach on the phone. It's time we obstruct justice. So once again, I think it's a very like interesting like a bit of exploring with like red and white philosophy there, because we know the Palatinate is mostly white aligned and they're coming down and trying to bring order and justice, and we know that the most of the Cav are red alliance. So I like there's like this idea of like conflicting of what it means to be fair and order, almost how much order you want, how much chaos you want. So from what's it called, the Postilion, I think it's both that they probably want to hear Sammy's story, but also maybe they have an emotional attachment to Sammy specifically, and also because they don't want people they don't want people like the Palatinate breathing on their neck, and they're mostly red alliance society where they value probably freedom more than like whatever the Palatinate says justice is. And we also know, especially given Tunnock's backstory, we definitely know that like they definitely are more like they try to be more hands off to a certain extent. And the Palatinate, this is like white and red in general. Like red's gonna be want to be more hands off unless it's like has an emotional reason to do so, and then white's gonna be like want to be more hands on to protect people. So here we have like kind of like the red line Cav settlement wants to be more hands off, and like we don't want you coming in and bringing whatever your idea of justice is. That's all I got for now. I think I might go back to the we'll probably draft one more time. I know I said I might not stream it, but we'll draft one more time. I'm kind of just worried about like how much story we get through, because I'd be very sad if we didn't get to the story. If I waited so long that by the time I get the release of the next set, I'm still not done with the story. I would like to get the story done before the next set comes out, because then maybe I can keep reading it. I don't know if like reading the story is something I even want to do, because or not. I'm gonna finish this one. That's what I want to do. But I don't know if this thing I want to do for every set. Like, am I gonna read every story out loud for every set? I don't know. Kind of depends on how many people ask or want it. But I believe we finished all the side stories too. But this is like a very dense story wise for Magic. Magic has had chapter books in the past, but like obviously they go with short stories these days. And 12 short stories is a lot for Magic the Gathering. As far as like usually, I feel like they usually do like sometimes they even do like half. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but 12 feels like a lot, especially with side stories. So that's like that was like 17 stories. What do we want here? Do we just try to run board? I did not read how red white plays in this set. Okay, I do not know what I'm looking for. We'll take Sammy out of respect and non-binary rights. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tap creatures, create a... So we want to tap creatures in red and white, it seems, in this set. We'll definitely take a Sacred Foundry. We probably shouldn't, because we haven't locked in our colors yet, but it kind of feels really good. And also, one thing I want to mention is that even though I'm reading the story, I do also at some point want to go through each of the cards individually. Although I'm not sure how that looking like prospect logically wise at this point. Like maybe that's something I don't want to do. It probably would take a while if I want to go in detail, like how fast do I want to do it, et cetera, et cetera. And I also have like other articles. Like you saw my Magic the Gathering article I just like read a little bit from that story. So there might be like maybe I want to read some of my stuff I wrote about like the color philosophies. And I could also read other articles. I think someone recently they dropped like an article on like blue color philosophy a bit, expanding on it a bit. So I could also check that out. Man, these people are taking their time. Some of these packs. Okay, Cavalron Harvester. Let's get your attacks. You may pay 2. Create you 2. So I think red white's definitely artifacts or something. Target shield control gets +1/+1 hate and hastily on a turn. Honor Knight Captain. The Automaton Torpedo. That was artifact destroy target on Nutrient Block. We might want Nutrient Block. But I think I'll take Cavalron, because it seems like it wants to go wide robot tokens. And that works better with Sammy. Very interesting robot art. I like how like face is almost like a camera with like a helmet on it. Territorial Bruntar. Whatever that. So That's okay. It's not an artifact. We probably should be running more artifacts. Actually, that also might be good. But it is fine. If this is still there, we might take it next time just because I think it has impulse draw, which feels really good. I shouldn't take it, but I will. We'll just focus on artifacts from now on. Put 2 fire. Short-term artifact. I mean, it's pretty good. I think. We'll take the robot though. We also have whenever not taking artifact control, these deals damage to a player. Okay, but no other cards running poison. I don't think. I mean, it's cute, but like, whenever not taking artifact, and it's also non-token. I think we want tokens for the in the meantime. Insert receptor mech on it. We definitely could run like Mardu robot. Looks like I don't think I will because it's probably not a good idea. But if we probably could run Mardu. Here, except becomes 2 market +1/+1 count on this creature. I mean that does work. Okay, I know I said we did robots, but we might just be doing more tokens in general. And in that case, Line War Rager is not bad. We'll take Focus Fire because the removal is really good. I feel like someone's gonna take that. Those feature entries target opponent might have you create 2 land tokens. If they don't, put +1/+1 count on this creature. Rig for War, that just seems pretty good. Also nutrient block. Cav Land Seeker. So the lander tokens are pretty good actually because we seem like we could care a little bit about artifacts and maybe sacrificing artifacts. Terrain generator, that seems really good. But basic land, I mean, if you have nothing better to do, you can tap it and then put something on the battlefield tapped. It looks like it's at instant speed. We'll take that because that's a robot cat. We'll see how much we actually care about robots or just tokens, because it could be just be caring about tokens. If we get something that cares more about artifacts, I might start grabbing the torpedo, but save. But the whole plan is falling apart. We don't have time for save. Dorgon Cav Roboticist. If Dorgon doesn't get a card next set, Magic the Gathering, oh, you're gonna kill my fury. Mark Rosewater will pay for this. Dark Endurance. We don't. I mean, like I said, if we were gonna run robots, we could run Mardu, but Melded Moxite seems good. Auxiliary boosters. I mean, it's not bad because it creates things. Survey Mechan. Sacrifice creature deals 3 damage. That's weird. I guess it could come in handy. I don't know how often I'm gonna have 10 mana to pull from. Double Strike. That's really good. I'm kind of conflicted because I feel like Melded Moxite. Holy shit. That scared the fuck out of me. Okay, we're kind of throwing a little bit, I think. All the scrap out's pretty good, it seems like. And starboard security. Virulent Silencer. I think we might just Plasma Ball. I think is good removal. Void at the beginning of turn of non-impairment left the battlefield this turn. Or I suppose Warp for +1/+1 count on this creature. Blast Zone. When a spacecraft enters deal top damage to 1 target creature. So it's kind of like Meteor Golem. Seems like a bit of void thing going on. I probably should have read what the archetype for red white was. I had to refresh. I should have refreshed my memory of what was going on with that. Some creatures have adapted to thrive in the unstable chaos of Cavern that is. Orbital Plunge deals 6 damage to target creature if X damage is sick. That doesn't seem bad. Lander token, and we do want to sack stuff, I think. Cav Land Seeker. It is 4 mana. 4 mana for 6 damage. And create the lander token with excess. Maybe take Flight Deck Coordinator. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. I'm probably throwing. I'm not putting as much thought as it was like last draft. He's also going to create a lander token. That could be like, okay, I could see a world. I think we might want to go with Lex Knight Preacher. Kind of seems like we just want to go with tokens or something. I feel like we could pivot to red black. I think it's too late for that, but we could have. That probably was an option earlier if we wanted to create like a sack deck. But I think we just want to move fast with this deck. And then Flight Deck Coordinator may not be the best, but I could see, well, if we're swinging a bunch, it could be, there might be another Bolt of Thunder. It's +3 gain. Nutrient Block. Nutrient Block's not bad because it's indestructible, and we can sack it to gain life and draw a card. We already have 2. I'm not really sure 100% if I see the point of having 4 Nutrient Blocks if we get to that point. Unless we want to try to run. Oh shit! All right. Well, we're running. Put in Squire's Lightblade. This creature becomes tapped. You gain 1 life. But our graveyard about our library. We'll take the ship. Gameplay Dragon deals with your target. Melted. We take the artifact. 100%. Virulent Silencer artifact. I don't think we're gonna include Virulent Silencer, but it's there as an option. Surprise Kathleen Silencer is still there. I'm gonna look up what the red white archetypes is. I probably shouldn't for the spirit of drafting, but oh, okay. Here, okay. Wait. I think we take Ragust because this gives us a food sacrifice, or it turns everything into food and gives a sacrifice. I think we do want to run a sacrifice, like a bit of a sacrifice artifact deck. If we could make enough artifacts to go wide and sack those, hold on. Nano infected. Whoa. Second spell. Plasma Bolt. This makes Void in our deck better because now there's more of a chance to leave the artifact. Leaves the battlefield. We definitely, actually, I think we want Wept. We take Wept of our Ardent. We just can't guarantee it won't be picked next time, and I think there's a higher chance we get. I'm not gonna play 1 if you do put +1. Okay, that seems pretty good. Also, Zealous Display seems good. It seems like better cards for what we want. Or play Pangolin. It wasn't the most efficient design, but the miner refused to part with old Pangy. I don't blame him. I would be attached to that thing too. Dockworker Drone. When this creature is +1, unless creature dies, put +1/+1 kind of creature on it. Focus Fire. Do we want another Focus Fire? I think we want Dockworker Drone because I feel like that I think we're going for a bit of like a red-white sacrifice of some sort. I feel like that just pairs. Like, I love some removal. Maybe I should get more removal. I'm not good at drafting, as you can tell. But we have... Oh shit, we're on the last pack. I didn't even realize. Maybe we should have grabbed the removal. Now it's raining like crazy. There's only my window and me between it, so if you can hear that, I'm sorry. Here we go. Maybe a spacecraft momentum up here, but the rest of the bottom. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, do we have any spacecrafts? I mean, we could just take up the +1/+1 counter, but you may have those types that way. Integrated rush cave edition of the types. Virulent silencer, nutrient block. We could have had 5 nutrient blocks at this point, which is just funny, but not that it's optimal. This creature enters non. We take that. Auxiliary boosters. Exosuit Savior. I don't know if we have anything we want to be like bouncing, especially not at sorcery speed. Like auxiliary boosters. Starport security, I think. That also cares about. Maybe we take Red Tiger Mechan. Full bore is pretty good. I'm not sure how much warp we actually have. Landfall. Artifact. How many spacecrafts do I have? I don't think I have enough. I mean, I guess thinking about spacecrafts, they're not creatures like usually when they enter, so I guess you just leave it like an artifact and then maybe justify that. Do we take Command Bridge? I think we need that more. If we had to pivot, we might as well go with Artifact, so we'll take Memon, and plus he's just a really funny character. Yeah, sure, Artifact. Lost in Space. Okay, maybe we should have more removal, but hopefully this is fine. Cut out everything. So we're gonna work backwards. We're gonna ask ourselves what we want, and then maybe cut things we don't want, depending on how it goes. So we definitely want Sammy. Because Sammy makes robots, which I think works well with Ragos, because Ragos picks our artifacts into food. And then we can sacrifice this to deal 3 damage to each opponent. Maybe instant if you gain life this turn, untap Ragos. So that's not bad. I guess first we ask what is an artifact or cares about artifacts. Right? Also forgot to. So maybe we start with just putting right. Turn that off. It does add land. It does add a lantern token. And the thing about lantern tokens is that now with Ragos, we can potentially use them as foods. Right? We'll definitely take a Plasma Bolt and a Focus Fire. And a Dual Sun Technique and a Rig for War. I think a lot more than I thought I would. I'm very tempted to add Charitable or Bruntar just because it is card draw. And that is good. Right? But Catalyst actually feels like it might be more generally useful. Because you can create a land token. But it's sacrifice. We're putting in Bruntar. Fuck it, bro. Is this deck good? Probably not as good as our last deck. But we have a chef. And honestly, that's all I need in life. Probably shouldn't keep it, but whatever. I think we have too many lands to be worth. We might cut a land. That might be worth it. Something else in. I forgot to check my colorless cards. Oh, fuck. Okay, Red Tiger Mechan, go. Oh, this is the most animated looking shit I've ever seen. I mean, not ever, but like, this is the first thing that's not the Japanese promo art. Not that everything made in Japan is anime, but you know what I mean. Token, okay. Have our own. So this is really good because we can play this and we can play Lux Knight Breacher next turn and then get that haste. Then after that, we can go in with a Red Tiger Mechan. Or maybe we should go in with Red Tiger Mechan first, swing, and then we can swing with both. Also, yeah, if you didn't know, most of the maps, like the battlefields in this game, there's like weird shit you can click on to like pull shit up and see the little effects. What you thinking about? Okay. We will play red type because what I'd like to do is I'd like to get like at least a couple for Moxite, for Lux Knight Preacher. If they want to block with Fly Deck Captain Coordinator, that's fine too though. Because then because then we have two options. We can just try to catch Lux Knight Preacher, or we can cast Caveron, Torbur Drone, and Melded Moxite. We can take a risk here. I think we just block, and then we play Melded Moxite or something next turn. Yeah, I'll play that. Maybe shouldn't play it so early, but now at least because it has Summoning Sickness, so I can't tap it immediately anyway. So I might as well play it, try to get it down. Oh brother. Two life. Not looking good. I guess I'll take a land because we can at least play these two. Discard a card and draw two. Fuck it. We shouldn't probably, but dual something. It's not bad actually. That's not bad at all. And then with this, we can do some weird shit. Like we can sack this, create a robot, block it to stop the damage from coming through, and then sack the robot to Ragos to just be like an asshole mostly. So it gives me life. I'll keep the red tiger mech back to use the dual sun technique on, I think, because I don't think I want to block with Ragos like or take the risk. Dual sun up depths. Okay, we're gonna do some weird shit here. So sacrifice this for 3. It comes in tapped. Oh my fucking god. Reading the card explains the fucking card, man. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna chump block and keep sacking with Ragos until we win, hopefully. And we at least have a card that replaces itself, and we can do something. I don't think Ragos is living much longer. I think we gotta chump block with him. Or trade, I guess, would be more accurate because I wanna stop the 2/2. Well, I mean, I could give it a +1/+1 counter and try to save it. We block Starfighter Pilot, and then +2/+2. Fair enough. Still dies potentially. Oh, it has double strike. It doesn't die. If it's your turn, if it has +1/+1 counter. Oh, if it had one already. Um. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Forgot the double strike. Anyway, let's think about this. I feel like I mostly just misplayed that. I don't really want to blame that on the deck. If you can hear the rain now, you got cool ASMR, I guess. At least you got that going for you. I think we cut a mountain. Put in... I didn't put any of my nutrient blocks in. Could I run a 60 card deck and just say fuck it with 3 nutrient blocks? Let's think about it. Hold on. How many lands we got? 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 23. Red, white. I'm not sure we have enough for a 60 card deck. Alright. No, we do not. Let's do this again. Let's take a step back. So we definitely want Sammy and Gastronaut. We look for Artifact. We put everything that cares about artifacts in here. Okay. I don't think we want Virulent Silencers. I think that's the easy choice to make. Now we figure out what we want to cut. I think we do want Oreplate Paladin. Wormwall Sweeper. Surveill's not bad, I guess. We definitely want Wept Walker. Maybe we cut Lux. Maybe we just go in all in an artifact. We cut like Locksnipe Breacher, Auxiliary Boosters. I mean, did I do my math right? How many cards? Also, hold on. Okay, well, we already have 40 cards with the colorless. I'm just an idiot. We'll roll with this. Actually, maybe we cut a land. But then cut a land for what is the question, huh? Definitely for a Plasma Bolt or something. Maybe we even cut Auxiliary Boosters. That's just a lot of mana. We could just have like a Rig for War or something. Then maybe a Territorial Brunter would not be bad. We'll try it out. I think I'm getting too hard, trying too hard to get to put in cards that like could be cool based in my head, like my cool moments, instead of cards that I know objectively will just work better. Like we just want artifacts. We just try to put artifacts in. I think I'm trying like too hard to like shove in like cards that care about like, exile and stuff. And with the ration card, we can probably just sack it to draw a card if we really need to. It's probably just better in that case. Okay, we'll play white, Starport Sentry. And then maybe I'll play Wormwall Sleeper. It depends. If they play something, I might just Plasma Bolt it. Alright. Pay 2. Wormwall Sleeper. Surveil. Nutrient Block. I'll take a Squire's Lightblade, because we have enough land for like a couple turns in our hand, and we can flash in Squire's Lightblade to catch something off guard. Insatiable Skittermoth, Void. This is what we want. We could just kill it. I think we'll swing in and figure out what we want to do from there. If they don't block with Plasma Bolt, we could just do both. We could just flash in Squire's Lightblade and then kill it. Okay. Oh. Maybe I should say that because it only works when you flash it in. I'm also playing like Grixis, like red, black, blue. Grab Blade Heavy. Ugh, it's a little big. Oh wait, it's like crew, so I don't. Okay, it doesn't matter if it has some exist or not. I can just station it later. We'll see what happens. If this is swings, I think we just let it hit, and then we crew this to make it a creature, and then we swing with 3 next turn. And we also have this possibility to sack this, gain 3 life, draw a card. Swarm color. The swarm lacked a natural predator, so the minions became 1. Okay, but horrifying. Oh, can I do that as a source? Okay. Okay. Reading the card explains the card. Draw a card. Not bad. I didn't do that on my main. I should have done that on my main. Whatever. You. Boop. Thought I could get 2. Well, we don't have to, but I mean, like, we can just get in for like a little bit. Might as well, because I think we want to play fast, and it ain't looking great. So sacrificing the creature or artifacts or veil 1. All things will fall to 0 point. By accepting this truth, my path is known. My fate and my fate is certain. Umbral color zealot. When this creature becomes tapped, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact if you draw a card. That seems really good. Might just be a race of who can kill who faster at this point. Okay, Ragost. This. Play 1. I think we pay 1 to make it bigger. Swing, I think we want to do. Well, we have the advantage. I'll probably chump block or I'll probably trade or Pangolin, but which maybe we should have waited. But I'm thinking we just get in while we can. And then once we get in, we can start sacrificing stuff as like food. It wasn't dealt damage this turn. What? It wasn't dealt damage? Oh, if it wasn't dealt damage, draw 2 cards. Sure. Baller's Faithful. That is a trick of the light. Snuff it out and discover immortality. Okay, it's not bad. Play you. Avalon Turbo Drone. Which we are not using its haste ability. I mean, kind of want blockers anyway. Whatever, we'll swing with these 2. Seven. It could go either way, honestly. Because I kind of have the advantage right now, but I think there's a way we turn this around, maybe. Potentially. Depends on what we draw next, to be honest. Where do you pull that map out from? Okay, we blocked the... Never mind, I think they're sacking. Well, maybe they won't sack it. Maybe we'll just leave it. Yeah, okay, they're sacking it. We can double block this, maybe? I don't think... There's a chance they just buff it and we get fucked over, but... We gotta try, I think. Maybe we didn't have to try. Maybe we just let them swing all in, and then next turn we would have pretty close to lethal. Oh, actually, I think. We just saved ourselves. We didn't block. We might still be dead next turn. What do we even do here? I guess activate ability. This is a tap thing. We might be dead depending on what they get here. It's literally just it's literally just depending on what we have in our hand. And you don't have like a bolt or something, do you? Fuck! It has haste. We could have survived. You don't want to sacrifice it, do you? Okay. Literally, if we let them block, or we live. Okay, we'll do one more. I'd like to win a couple of steps and more gems, but you know. It's not bad. We'll keep it. White, nutrient block. Next turn, we will cast Red Tiger Mechan. Get your one in. We can't. The thing has menace anyway, so we're just gonna go in. Hit face for 3. Save that for later. Dockworker Joan. We have Plasma Bolt ready. It's a sorcery. Buck. I guess we just kill Rust Harvester then. Why not? Maybe we save it next turn, but I'm thinking next turn we just cast Red Tiger Mechan or Lux Knight Breacher. Or effect or a creature you control. Oh, that's probably I probably should pay more attention to that. We might just cast Lux Knight Breacher next turn then. You gonna buff that and save it? Nope. I have to remember that Void goes off from anything leaving the battlefield, not just my stuff. So Frontline War Ravager. Yeah, I'll let you through. Red Tiger Mechan. We just run in and then we can swing with both, and if they block. I mean, maybe I think we just save Dockworker Drone for blocks because they can't really block us anyway at the moment. And okay, never mind. Maybe that wasn't the play. We don't want to block this turn because we want to try to keep Dockworker Drone to die when something else is on the battlefield, so we can put a +1/+1 counter on it. We have Stalker Ardent. Leave. Worst comes to worst, we can sack this for. That's not good. Lux Knight Breacher. There's the +1/+1s. Chill. Well, then Moxite. That might be a problem. I mean, what I'm most worried about is that I try to block this and then they bolt and they pump it up and I don't kill it. I guess I should always also be worried about Rock Ghost. Okay. Fuck. Well, I mean, that would be good if I did literally anything on the board right now, huh? Probably dead because they swing, they go all in. I have nothing, and then they sack something with Ragust or whatever. Oh boy, yeah, that seems like it's it. Yeah. Good game. Kind of threw that, but that's probably all for tonight. Getting kind of late for me. By late, I mean like 10 p.m. ish. We'll see what we got though. Gene Pollinator. So is that like an Inhumanian? Because some like Inhumanians seem like they're sentient. So do all Inhumanians sentient, including this horse thing? Like the horse thing, like a sentient person, or are they not all sentient in that way? Yeah, that's probably all for today. What's you? I'll probably stream Valorant or something. I'm not 100% sure. Either read the story or stream Valorant. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by, even if it was only like for a few seconds or minutes.